He was making his way proudly through the fresh snows. His paws were getting cold as they sank softly on the white frost, but it was not something that he cared about. He had a battle to give. His breath steamed in front of his eyes, and he felt its warmth on his cold tongue, which hung out by the fatigue of the run. All around him the snow had covered everything in white, in the color of his fur, in his collar. The few other animals he came across or saw on that morning, a few deer and some squirrels, ran away to hide themselves or looked at him, examining him from afar. He wouldn't hurt them, though. He had a battle to give. He came upon a small river and stopped for a while to look at the water that came down from the 5 tall mountains that were far away in the southern horizon, a place he had never been to. He slowly approached the riverbank and dipped his snout in the cold water to quench his thirst. Some salmons were happily and mischievously swimming upstream, jumping higher and higher against the water's flow. The winter was expected to be heavy, with the first snow having just fallen the previous night. But as he watched his reflection, a desire to jump in the water came to him. Without thinking about it twice, he jumped in, and he too swam against the current for some time. Yet he soon came out to the bank again and shook the water off his fur proudly, methodically. And so he started running again. He had somewhere to go. He had a battle to give. So he reached the small clearing where he knew he would also find the others of his generation, ready for their first raid on one nearby village, for a few sheep, lambs, anything living they could find for prey. All of them outcasts of this snowy world, the last unbent warriors who took everything they wanted with the power of their teeth against hostile peasants with pitchforks and fire. Wolves and sea-wolves, small wolf pups playing all around them, ready as well for their own first experiences. He himself knew deep inside him that his time had finally come. He had a battle to give. He approached the leader with careful, firm moves. He was a big grey with only one eye and countless scars across his body. He stood before him, and determined, he growled. He showed him his teeth, bare, white. The big one immediately understood. With an instinctive move, he charged at him as if there was no tomorrow, and they rolled meters away. Both biting, both clawing, blood filled their mouths. But the white one knew the outcome of the fight deep inside him, deep in his heart. He knew it. They mainly fought for the pack, but also for the pair of a sea-wolf's grey eyes. Prizes with value among wolves, but also the only things for which wolves could fight for. And the white one would carry that day's wounds proudly, like blood on the snow, like a blood-red banner on the white of his purity. After some time, the grey one stopped resisting, dropped to the earth and rolled over, showing his belly to the white one. Triumph. The white slowly approached the grey and licked his wounds, a sign of acceptance of the enemy's defeat, but also of respect to the defeated one. He stood over the grey, proud, and looked at the pack surrounding them. He was the only one standing on all fours. The whole pack was sitting on their hind legs and looked at him silently, waiting for him. He looked inside the grey eyes he desired, and saw pride and admiration. So he raised his head to the sky, the taste of his enemy's blood still on his tongue, and howled like he had never howled before. A call for a new age, for a change. The others howled too, and the pack was unleashed in the fields, with him on the front, the stronger one, giving the pace and the pathway that the others would follow. It was time for the pack to search for its prey, and its attack, under a pale sun, like a sickly wound of the sky, would be relentless. Each step they took was an advance of their will.